Alright guys, day 22. We're back at it again. Back from our rest days. So yeah, we're gonna keep doing those more isolated workouts. Today we're gonna focus more on our shoulder area. So like front, middle delt, more shoulder. Yeah, let's get it. I did just take a massive shit, so I feel a lot better than I did before. I feel a lot lighter. So let's get this. Episode 3 of Con Ganas just uploaded. I kind of had to follow that TikTok trend where you put those montages, those Minecraft montages under your actual video. Maybe that can help me get a little bit more views. But yeah, I decided to do that on Cooking Con Ganas. So if you guys haven't, go check it out. Day 22. So I just saw a video on Instagram of a 5-month difference. And to be honest, that was a big difference. But I was like 5 months to that. Well, because I don't want to be rude either, but that was a massive difference. They lost quite a bit of pounds. But it's like 5 months? Is that actually possible? And then I started thinking, well, I lost 2 pounds and the last 2-3 weeks. So every average 1 pound for every week, then I'd be down 20 pounds in 5 months. But the thing is, I'm not necessarily trying to lose weight. I'm more just trying to maintain a good physique, trying to maintain a good muscle fat ratio, Obviously right now I got a little bit more fat than muscle, so we're trying to switch that around. So it might be a little bit difficult just because obviously the goal is not to lose weight, the goal is not to maintain weight, not to gain weight, but nonetheless I'm gonna do what I can. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna get my physique in. So yeah, if you haven't noticed, I am wearing the Navy Con Ganas sweatpants. These are so comfortable, man. I sleep, eat, work out in these. They're perfect for anything, man. So go check them out. Con Ganas the shop. Get yours now. A lot of you guys are wondering why you always see me on the Stairmaster. Why on all my TikToks, reels, shorts, and whatnot. I like Stairmaster because it's my warm-up, basically. It gets my blood pumping, gets the sweat going, and then throughout my workout, I try to maintain that sweat. If I don't maintain that sweat, then I'm wasting my time. As I've said in my other videos, if I'm wasting my time, I feel guilty. I don't feel like I'm making any progress. So I hop on the Stairmaster to get me started, and then try to keep my sweat going throughout my workout. So that's pretty much why I like Stairmaster. I'm sure there's other options too, like the bicycle machine, a treadmill, but Stairmaster is my best friend. So yeah. Alright, so we're just gonna start off with some machine shoulder presses. Get them activated a bit. Yeah, so I've been thinking about trying to experiment with different video styles. Like I know a lot of people, instead of talking straight into the mic while they do their workout, they tend to cut the videos so that it shows their workouts, and then it'll be like they have a text saying shoulder press 3 times, and then the weights for each set, and then onto the next one, onto the next exercise, same thing. They got their workout, the sets, and the different weight on them. I was thinking about doing something similar to that. Just trying to experiment different video ideas, see which one I like best, which one fits my style more. But I mean, recently I've been starting to like talking into the mic while I do these workouts. I'm slowly getting those nerves are slowly fading away. The embarrassment is slowly starting to fade away too. You know, I've been doing this for over 21 days. A lot of these people are already getting used to it. A lot of the gym people that usually come around the time I come to the gym, those guys are already starting to, you know, get used to it. You know, I haven't had anyone tell me anything, and I hope I can say like that. But yeah, traficante. Oh, I also would like to do a before and after, you know, but like how do you say it, like 1 month before and after. It probably won't be a lot, but I want to do 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and so on. That would be nice to see all the progress along the way instead of just before and after. On to the next exercise, we got the delt machine. Looks like I'm losing my sweat, so we gotta step it up a bit. Gotta keep it going. Alright, that's it. One thing that was hard to learn, not necessarily hard to learn, but that maybe a lot of other people might get frustrated on when building your brand, is that it's gonna take a lot. It's gonna take a lot of time, a lot of money, and maybe a lot of these people might not have any of that, or enough. You know, you gotta be patient, and you gotta put in a lot of work. You gotta put in the effort, you know. Tienes que echar ganas. So that's why I keep doing this, even though today I might get no views. Tomorrow I'm gonna try to get 1 view. And then the next day, I'm gonna try to get 2 views. And then the next day, 3 views. Next week, 5 views. Next month, 100 views. You know, it's a progress. It's slow progress that you gotta be patient on. And you know, you're gonna have to invest your time, money, patience. So yeah, that's one thing I learned. You know, you see a lot of these other influencers, people go viral overnight, but it's harder when you're trying to promote a brand that not necessarily a lot of people are gonna understand. Obviously, con ganas is Spanish, so a lot of, you know, English speaking, a lot of these English speaking, you know, viewers might not really understand. And the same thing goes for me. I like to speak in English in all these videos too, so it kind of, you know, there's no really balance within that. Does that make sense? But yeah, so going back to that part of me speaking in English, when obviously the brand is more catered toward Spanish, the Spanish language, Spanish speaking, Spanish culture, the Latin culture, Latin community. You know, a lot of people might call me an osabo, and that's fine. That's completely fine, because you know, there's gonna be some words where I'm gonna have trouble saying. You know, I'm gonna get tongue twisted, tongue tied, and then there's gonna be words where I've never heard completely. You know, and then there's words where in the U.S. we say one way, but down, you know, in Mexico or in other countries, they say it differently. Same thing goes in English. I'm not the very best in English either. You know, I was born and raised in the U.S., but I still have a little accent every now and then. So yeah, so maybe a lot of people might get annoyed or, you know, frustrated with how I talk. I know I do. There's gonna be days where I'm gonna be like, man, dude, I am annoying. How do people put up with this? But then you gotta keep pushing, man. Like, I can have a conversation with a Spanish-speaking customer, you know, but then every now and then they're gonna hit me with this word that I've never heard, and it's just gonna leave me confused, like, bro, what? And then there are gonna be times where I say something, and in my head it's gonna be like, is that the proper way of saying it, you know? And then that's when I start getting all stuttery, when I start getting nervous. You know, same thing goes in English. I might say like, you know, the wrong now and every now and then, and I'd be like, fuck, I sounded stupid. So, like I said, you gotta keep pushing, man. When I was growing up, I'd rarely watch any of the, like, you know, Spanish-speaking cartoons, like, or the channel, you know, like CBeebies and whatnot. I'd rarely watch them. I'd mostly just watch Nickelodeon, SpongeBob, you know, Cartoon Network, shit, stuff like that. That's what I would watch. Obviously, in school, I'd talk English all the time, and then the only time I would speak Spanish or hear Spanish was at the house, and even then, I rarely talked in Spanish. I'd always talk to my siblings in English, and then, you know, every now and then I hear them with that little with that little Spanish. But yeah, you know, I'd experienced my parents hand me the bill and they'll ask me to translate, and I'm just like, says you owe. But yeah, other than that, I'd barely speak Spanish. I mean, and one thing that really helped me improve my Spanish was customer interactions and music. Obviously, there's an abundance of Spanish-speaking customers, and you guys know I work in customer service, so there's gonna be a lot of Spanish interactions, and that helped me a lot. But I think music kind of helped me gain that confidence to start speaking more Spanish. What I mean by that is that during COVID, I already told you guys this, that when COVID happened, I immediately started to work, and I worked in the fields, and in the fields, you know, I'd have my AirPods in, I'd have a speaker with me, and around that time, you know, Nata, Junior, Fuerza, Sabon, all these guys started hitting. They started getting the youth attention, you know, the more younger audience, this younger generation of immigrant children, or, you know. So those guys started popping up, and I had listened to them 24/7. No lie. Working in the car, working out, you know, playing games. That's all I listened to. So, you obviously, you know, you're hearing music. Sometimes you start singing along. You start maybe, you know, oh, I've never heard this word. Let me search it up. Oh, this means this. Oh, now I get this line. Now I understand what they're trying to say in the song. So that helped me a lot too, you know. And yeah, that pretty much, I would say listening to music really helped me improve my Spanish speaking skills, helped me gain that confidence, and helped me throughout my job interviews, you know. So yeah, that's why in a lot of these videos you're gonna hear me talking mostly in English. I grew up speaking English. I talk English the majority of the day, but I mean, I'm Mexican. My culture's still surrounded by Spanish. It's just, you know, throughout the day I utilize more English. But yeah, my culture is surrounded by Spanish. That's why I decided to surround my brand in Spanish, you know. Con ganas translate to with effort. So with effort, I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna make this big. I'm gonna make my brand known, and again, I'm gonna make sure I get more Spanish in throughout my videos, so I can get the one audience, that half of the audience that relates a little bit more like me, where they raise English, or, you know, the audience, the no sabo audience, and then I can get that other half of audience where they speak fluent Spanish, you know. So yeah. Alright, so let's do some cable lateral raises.